Hello, everyone. I'm certified natural healthcare practitioner Erin Thole, and today I'm super excited because we have Britley Williams with us today from Divine Your Life, and she works with breath and emotions and just really finding yourself again and just releasing the things that don't serve you and all of that good stuff. She can tell us way better than I can about everything that she does, but as you all know, like working in functional medicine as a holistic practitioner, we're looking at the whole body. So that's not just the physical. We also have to look at that emotional component as well, our belief systems, what goes on in our head, all of that good stuff, because those two things together create health. So thank you so much, Britley, for being here. I'm so excited and I appreciate it. Can
Of
you
course.
tell us more about what you do?
I certainly can. Well, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. And you nailed it. I mean, I work really on a somatic level. So, soma means of the body to really bridge the gap between our mind and our body. Right? We live like 98% of our day up in this beautiful analytical mind that allows us to communicate and connect and to create all these beautiful external experiences in our life, but we really malnourish and undergo the ability to connect to the intuition of our body and really resource our needs and any illness or anything that needs our awareness from there. So I really work to bridge that gap, and from this space we're able to really heal trauma from our subconscious mind, from our youth and even young adult and adult lives, right? We're able to really just come into communication and connection with ourself, with our um, sense of self and North Compass, if you will, which is the direct derivative into our lives and our human experience. So we work on the emotions, we work on the programming, we work on that habitual process that we fall into right when we wake up on the same side of the bed every day, right? Roll out of the same side of the bed, take the same 5 steps to the bathroom where we pick up the toothbrush with the same right hand and just kind of move robotically throughout our life without really ever tuning in, checking in with this beautiful body, this beautiful compass that we have. So I do that in a plethora of ways. My personal favorite is the modality of breath work, which, when kind of altered or manipulated in certain ways, can really allow us to drop in and regulate our hormones, our nervous system, our bodies, and really instill that deep connection that we want to have, and from that intuitive place drive our lives from.
That is so awesome.
So
Yes,
fun.
it's so fun. It is. Like I've been diving more and more into this like somatic healing stuff lately, and it's just been mind and eye opening. Like it's just been so fantastic. So, and that's kind of how you and I met, as working through another practitioner and breaking out in small groups and talking and being like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? Oh my gosh, like
Yep.
we should definitely
Boom.
be doing things together, you know? So it's interesting how these paths just start to align and stuff like that. So I know you have a lot of stuff, new irons in the fire and things that are just going to be rolling out here pretty soon. First, I kind of want to talk about the breath work, because a lot of people kind of think about breath work as, I'm just going to sit here and breathe for 10 minutes and not think about anything. And, kind of that kind of thing that I feel doesn't really work all that well, because 30 seconds in, you're thinking about your grocery list. Oh, I got to go pick up the kids. Oh my gosh, I need to make an appointment for the dog at the vet. I need to do this. I need, and just going over the list. And so that doesn't really work for a lot of people. So how do you take people through breath? Because I feel like a lot of people are doing this, as I'm sure you'll agree, that upper chest, short breathing, where they're not actually expanding the diaphragm and getting oxygenation like through their entire body into their blood and all of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to preface that my grandma herself is like, hold on, hold on, hold on. People pay you to teach them to breathe. Like it's kind of a crazy concept, right? You're like, I breathe all day. So we're not talking about the subconscious automatic breath work that we do. Although I will say that your breath is a direct reflection of the state that you're in. So just right now, even taking a moment to tune in to have a really shallow breath where you hold your breath, that's a really good indicator to see if you're in that fight or flight that you're talking about, that kind of overdrive that we spend so much of our life in, right? And so much of it has become cultural, this masculine drive to hustle and to get forward, and this sense of productivity that we all have adopted as truth in our body, which just means the harder we work, the more achievable we are, the more accomplishment we get, the more value, right? So we have to start to deconstruct a little bit of this. And it is really through the breath that we can start to tune in and hone in on what's called the vagus nerve, which runs from the base of our brain all the way down our spine, and it touches on every organ, right? So when we think about our bodies in this kind of heightened state in traffic, right? Our body doesn't actually know if we're in traffic or if we're getting chased down by a saber-toothed tiger. It's still releasing the same chemicals and sensations in the body as if it's in that fight or flight state, and it has to protect ourselves. So we think about that over a long duration of time, right? And we're in this fight or flight, and all of the stressors and cortisol and insulin and all the things that Erin can speak to that happen in our body. How do we create a safe pathway back, right? And for a lot of us, meditation is a really intimidating word because it means to sit crisscross applesauce in a shaman position and recite the word om over and over. And you're like, yeah, that does not sound like my vibe, right? So that's a big misconception, which we'll get to, because just like the heart inadvertently beats blood throughout the body, our brain is going to inadvertently think thoughts. And the second we try to cut off our blood supply is not the same way we're going to try to cut off our thoughts, right? We want to allow these thoughts to come, but we want to learn how to train them and create discernment and resilience over them, right? We don't want our thoughts to become our reality. We want to start to create some space. I like to think of our thoughts like fish in a fishbowl. What happens when you add more fish? It gets chaotic, it gets gross, the water starts to rise and overflow, and then you have more fish than you do water, right? Yeah. And think of the water as like our consciousness, the space between, that beautiful purified space in which our thoughts can live and exist, but they aren't being over flooded by, I guess you could say. Yeah. So how do we create more consciousness? How do we create more space in our life to respond rather than to react, and to really bring us down this ladder of sympathetic state, fight or flight notion, and into like this really beautiful, ventral, safe space where we can own and operate from receivership rather than like resistance, right? That is for me through the breath. And the way that I work with clients is I will take them on a really big high level approach. I take them from this analytical mind, this alpha beta state where we're in this hyper kind of functioning and feeling like we need to communicate and hustle, down into this beautiful theta state. And it's a really suggestible state. It's almost like the Zen when you're coming out of yoga, like nobody can mess with me. I feel so good in my body. Like we want to live and exist from there, right? Mm-hmm. What would it look like if that was our resting position over this, like, yeah. So the breath that we use is basically, yeah, like I just want to live from there, right? And it's so possible. And not only do a lot of us don't believe that we deserve it, we don't really believe it's possible. And my job is to show you that you can absolutely learn to create a straight pathway to this really rested position where you're operating from like detachment to environment and really in tune with your body, and like very slow motion, slowing down the verse of time. So you're actually present with the people that you love, present and intentional with the way that you're moving about this life. And for me, it's been through the breath. There's multiple different breath patterns. I'm happy to like show one and dive into one that can make us feel good today. Like this is just such a simple one. And this, in under 3 minutes, you're going to feel the benefits of bringing yourself down that heightened ladder. So we can do it together. If you're driving, I always say put a pause to this and come back to it. But if you're somewhere where you can afford to take 3 minutes, if you're in the kitchen multitasking, wherever you are, just take 3 minutes. I promise it's going to be worth it. If you can find a seat, maybe just like finding a seat and allowing yourself to take a few just deep breaths with me. And like right away, just how good that feels to just feel into the body, to slow down the pace of time, right? If our breath reflects our thoughts, and inadvertently our thoughts can reflect our breath. So if we slow down the breath, we notice that the thoughts start to just slow. And the breath pattern we're going to do, again, it's only going to be for about 2 minutes. It's a 3-part breath. And I want you to think about breathing into the belly, up into the chest, and then out through the mouth. We're going to do this together. So shutting down those eyes, rolling back those shoulders, giving yourself the next 120 seconds of breath. Joining me when you're ready. Beautiful. Keep that breath going. Big inhale, filling up that belly like a balloon all the way up, expanding that chest, and then just blowing out of the mouth. Letting any thoughts come. We're not fighting anything off. We're just breathing into the body. That's it. Keeping that breath going, really letting the breath do the work here. So we're not counting and micromanaging the breath, just really simply like a wave, letting the breath enter and leave the body. Yeah. 30 more seconds here. Give me one more. And then all together, just for fun, taking a really deep inhale, thinking about bringing that air all the way up the belly, up the chest. And then holding it there at the top. Softening the body, releasing the shoulders. Feeling the energy that you've just cultivated in the chest cavity and in the body. Feel that little buzz. And then whenever you're ready, as slowly as possible, just letting that air leave the body through a slow exhale or a beautiful yawn. That's it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Do you feel it?
Oh yeah. Much lighter,
Amazing.
much calmer, much more centered.
Yeah.
I think that if people, yeah, it just feels good in my mind.
Getting high off your own supply is what I
Yeah.
say.
Who needs caffeine? So as I'm doing this type of breath work, kind of think about one thing that I tell clients all the time, that when we're talking about stress, because so many people are living in an extremely stressed, anxiety-ridden state. But if you ask them, do you feel like you're stressed? They're like, I'm not stressed. I'm used to it. I'm used to running these kids everywhere and going to a million activities and going to the grocery store and then cleaning up the house until 10 and then sleeping for 4 hours and then getting up and doing it all over again. I'm not stressed. Like
stressing me out a little bit just talking about it.
Like perceived stress and what your body physically feels are two very different things. So I think that this practice, as you feel grounded and you feel just like, oh, everything is released and centered and just you feel good in your body after you're doing this breath work, you're like, this is what it feels like to be normal. Yeah, I am stressed when I'm running all over the place, all day, every day kind of thing. So if anything, this helps people to realize, along with their hormonal panel, when we see their adrenals are completely shot, that this is something you can feel where you're like, oh yeah, this is bringing me back to homeostasis. Like this makes me feel balanced and good and centered in my body. I can instantly feel that. So I think this is a good way, people working with you and stuff like that, to learn how to do this and all the other things that you do to help people unload, get rid of the fluff, get rid of the garbage that they don't need. That being said, you do have a new program that's launching pretty soon. What is it? October 26th?
That's it. Look at you go.
So, and it's called HELD, HELD. So I want you to tell everyone about that program, how they can register, what it's about, all that good stuff. Because I think it's fantastic. The world.
Thank you, love. Thank you. You know what? Before I do that, the quote just dropped on my mind, and it's a little bit like, oh, it's a little bit of a gut punch, but I think it says something along the lines of like, the degenerates of our time and century will not be those who cannot read or who cannot write, but who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And for some reason, I felt like that was important, because what's more important than us like learning new ways and habits is unlearning those ways of those habitual stressors, right? We have created such a direct route to stress in our body. We know exactly what to do to get that cortisol hit in the morning by looking at the emails and going about our day, overriding our nervous system about 1,000 times before we've ever stopped to check in, right? And stress feeds stress feeds stress. So the more stressed we get, the more that we want to stay in this angst cycle, the harder it is for us to come down. So I always love that quote, is like, it's not about how much you can do, it's about how much you can be, right? And that's really what Held is about. So I've partnered with my business partner, one of my best friends, and it just brilliant soul in this space. And what I really work on is the internal, right? I work on the somatic body, the nervous system regulation. We work on those subconscious programmings, those narratives, those beliefs around money, around stress, around time, around what productivity and value equate and mean to you based on societal terms, right? Things that we've adopted inherently from our guardians, from all of these spaces and places, because first we really have to bring into awareness the way that we're operating and how it's really not the way that we have to be operating as much as we believe it to be true. What she does is she's an expert in the external space, so the time management, energy restoration, how to really get your time back, your energy back, your balance back, so that you can show up in that integrative piece between, okay, I'm aware of what's going on out inside of me, but how do I create the space to integrate outside of me?
Mhm.
So we've created this space called Held, and it's for the mom, it's for the high achiever, it's for the busy woman who is feeling completely scattered in all areas of her life, mentally, physically, emotionally, health suffering, relationship suffering, and not all the way suffering, but like bringing it back before it gets to that point too, right?
Yeah.
Like not waiting for the wake up call, but waking up before this call if you're on the like direct trajectory to that exhaustion. So we go scattered to streamlined, scattered to like, how do we clean up your energy both internally and heal on a somatic level, but then create the space and boundary outside to be the container for the kind of abundance you want and actually see your visions through. I think a lot of containers today will take you about halfway, right? Like they give you a few tools and they create the vision, but then they don't take it to the execution. We really want to take women to the finish line. What is that God-given bountiful purpose on your heart? And how can we actually hone in on that and take some of the other narratives away, turn down that white noise so we can like tune into the frequency of our feminine hearts, right? Those dogs agree. Do you hear them out there?
I
They're
do. They're like,
barking. They're like,
yes, get
yes.
the program.
Yes. And you know what's really beautiful about this program is we take the objections that women have, like, oh, sounds great, I don't have the time. I'm like, oh, baby girl, that's the first thing we hit is the time management piece, the time audit. We get into it, and not just like an overarching, here's a systematic way, but like your unique blueprint. Like, what does your time look like? Your specific time in your day. How much of it do you have? How much of it do you need? We don't do this overarching, like, one size fits all type approach. We're really intimate with that. Money. I wish I had the money. Beautiful, baby girl. Well, the only way to get the money is to do something different than what you've done to get to where you are now. So
Yeah.
what does wealth identity look like? And then how do you actually create a safe and beautiful structure to hold the money, right? So I love all these objections. Like, I don't have the balance, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources. I'm like, perfect. We've strategically built a program to give you all of those things so that we can get into the meat of the program about halfway through and again, take you to the finish line. And the goal of this program is that you leave and you don't need another program. You don't need to like continue to be doing of this, right? It's all the resources you need up front to then step into your purpose and power. And we have a lot of accountability and support around that. So the program's called Health. It's 4 months for the scattered women, the overwhelmed women, to go from chaotic to clear, scattered to streamlined. And you're going to be really held and supported by not only other women, but by both Ellie and myself. And that starts October 26th. I'm giving 10% off to all of the people in this community because, like, I know that these women listening are the ones that we want in that container. These ones that are already invested in themselves, already taking the time to carve out of their day to listen to something that's informational and good and beneficial to them because they see the return on investment and going inward for themselves, right? We as women self-abandon and self-sacrifice in service of others, but we don't realize that the real service comes from being a little bit selfish at times and really restoring our cup. So we want to create a space for women. We want to hold you through the whole entire thing. It's very, very methodical. It's been a 4-month container. It's not something we threw together. It's been prayed over, integrated, tested. So it's a really beautiful and proven process for the ladies here. And I would love your community to be in. I would love you to come in, and I'm sure you'll do the website and the discount code and everything.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
I'm going to post all of that below the video. I'll post the website link from Britley. so that you can go and check that out as well as the discount code, which is my first name and my last initial, Erin T, for that 10% off. I'll also post Britley's, her main website, if you want to kind of poke around on there, do some one-on-one work with her, anything like that. And her Instagram handle, I'll put that in there as well. So you can follow Britley and learn wonderful things from her, because she's definitely worth following and learning from. So yes, I'm super excited to have you on today and to have experienced that breath work and to, introduce this program held to people and, just help people get on board with all of this so that they can just feel better in their body and really own their life again.
Thank you, babe, so much. It's been such a pleasure as I'm working with you and you're working with me, and the beauty and the combination of these, right? Like the health meets the soul meets everything, and it takes all parts. So if we can offer a space to get it all to you as quick as possible, we understand that that's what you need. So grateful to be here, grateful for your community, and most importantly for you, love, for making it happen.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. This has been fantastic. Like I said, everything you need will be below this video in the notes. If you have questions, you want to, talk to Britley one-on-one, everything you need for that will be below. You can also put comments below this video and let us know what you think, and always subscribe too. That's always fantastic. So thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Uh-oh thing. Let me stop recording.